Hey guys, welcome back to another pregnancy update. We are doing weeks 28 and 29 today, which is insane because I'm now in my third trimester. I'm sorry, what? I keep saying this, but I feel like it's gone by super slow and super fast at the same time. Like I've been pregnant since February and it's end of August now. I don't know. It's all very weird. But yeah, I'm in my third trimester. So let's chat all the things because there's a lot to talk about with these couple weeks. So let's get into it. Okay, the lighting's just gonna change 400 times while I'm in the middle of doing this. That's fine. Okay, so I have switched to a midwife, and this practice actually has two midwives and an OB, so I have the option of both, which I think is really nice. I'm choosing to see the midwife, but I will meet the OB at some point in the next few weeks in case she has to be present during delivery. First time that I'm ever meeting these people, okay? And I had to do the glucose test. So backing up a little bit, I went back and forth a lot about if I was going to choose to do this or not because it is a standard test that they do. Sometimes doctors will give you alternatives, and especially places that are more natural minded will do an alternative to the glucose test. Glucose test? I can't talk. Basically, it's drinking this gross juice liquid stuff. And it's super high in sugar, obviously, and really bad, nasty ingredients. When I switched, I asked if they had an alternative because I knew my first appointment with them was gonna have to be this test. And they said that I could do a different version where I'm like just pricking my finger and taking my blood, I think for a couple weeks, and I'd have to do it like several times a day. So I really considered doing that. And I just went back and forth so much. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you can deny any test that you want. Like, you have the right to choose if you want to do it or not. And they will probably give you a lot of pushback because of, you know, kind of obvious reasons if you were to have it and went undetected and that kind of thing. I intuitively felt like I didn't have it, but I didn't want to just go based off of that. I was like, I would feel awful if it went undetected and I did have it. So anyway, long story short, I had this battle with myself for quite a while if I should do this test or not. And I ended up doing it. My gut didn't want to. So if you do have it, the solution is not insulin like a normal diabetic would do. It is changing your diet. And I'm like, I'm a very healthy person. I think I got that under control. So I'm not having awful things anyway that would spike my blood sugar. I know there's more that goes into it, but anyway, I'm just trying to get through this. Long story short, I ended up doing it, and I should have followed my gut. That's just my experience. I should have not done it because I had a very scary experience with the test, which sounds kind of ridiculous. So I drank it, okay, which is not, it wasn't, I mean, it was gross, but like, I can get over it. It tasted like a flat Sprite, kind of. Towards the bottom of it, I'm like, oh gosh, because you have to drink it in like a short amount of time. And then they take your blood 1 hour later, and that's how you find out. So yeah, I was like, okay, I can take it, it's fine. Some people throw up, they said, because it's like gross or whatever. I'm like, no, like I'm fine, it's whatever. So went ahead and drank it, then went into the room to meet with my midwife for the first time, and about 10 to 15 minutes into us talking, I started to get really lightheaded and I started to feel really, really weird. And she's talking to me and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't feel good right now. Like I had to say something, so I'm like, oh my gosh. And she's like, okay. And you know, I had my mask on, so I was like, let me just pull it down, let me try to get some more oxygen in. I didn't know if that was what it was, I don't know. And she's like, just kind of like looking at me and talking still, and I'm like, something's not right, something's not right. And as I'm saying this, I'm starting to like black out, and I'm like, can I have some water maybe? So they give me water, and I'm only supposed to sip water because the glucose test, like you can't chug water. So they're like, just wet your tongue. I'm like, I need to drink water right now. So I'll try not to make this so long. But anyway, I'm like going out. I'm completely going out. And they throw my feet up, and at this point, I don't even know what the timeline really was. It felt like it lasted like 10 full minutes, but it could have been a couple minutes, I don't know. And I started breaking out into like a sweat. My eyes were open at one point and I could not see anything, so I just kind of shut my eyes. My chest felt so heavy. I couldn't breathe. And it sounds really dramatic, but it felt very dramatic. I felt like I was crossing the other side. I was like, oh my God, and the whole time I'm like, is the baby okay? I don't even know if I was like saying anything or if I was just thinking it. It was all kind of like a blur. But they had a bunch of people rush in. They're taking my blood pressure. And I can hear this lady and she's like, I can't get a read. I can't get a read. It's too low. I can't get a read. So they're all like trying to get a read on my blood pressure, but they couldn't because it had dropped so bad. And they had cold cloths that they started putting all over me. And then someone else was like checking the heartbeat of the baby, and I was like hearing it but not knowing if it was okay. And anyway, it was extremely scary. I truly was like, am I about to get rushed to the other part of this building, which was the hospital, and have an emergency C-section, and am I gonna live? Is the baby gonna live? I mean, honestly, like, it sounds crazy because of a glucose test, but that's truly what happened. And then here's why. So I was like, what just happened? After I finally came to and was like, it would have breathed, and they're like, okay, you have some color back. Like, I guess I went completely white, and I could have a conversation. They were like, yeah, so this is what happened. So apparently if you're not used to that amount of sugar and that like bad kind of sugar, she's like, basically what happened is it triggered your vagus nerve, and which caused the blood from my heart and my brain to like go away from my heart and my brain, apparently. This was the summary of her explanation of it, which caused my blood pressure to like skyrocket low, and it was unreadable and made me like go out. So she was like, if you were about to be out for another like minute, it was about to be like really, really bad. I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, long story short, the following week I got the results that I was fine. So with all of that, my advice is to learn about the test. And if you're not comfortable taking that drink, then maybe find an alternative if your doctor will allow that, or know that you have the right to deny it. So basically, I think that it's important to just make an informed decision for yourself. And I think this goes with a lot of other things, and especially within pregnancy. There's so many things that are standard or normal that you don't have to do if you don't want to. And I don't know, give yourself permission to kind of follow your gut or your informed decision because of the reasons that you have, that you can do something or cannot do something. And I'll link an article below that just talks about that test, or like what's in the drink and that kind of thing, just for information for you to learn about if you have to take that test too. So, and I did find out the following week that I was clear and I was good. So obviously if it came back and I had failed and I have gestational diabetes, then I would have been like, okay, that was necessary. I had to do that to find out, but I was fine. So if you're in the range of like 140 to 200, apparently that is a dangerous zone. But I was at 90. So they're like, you're completely fine. Okay, so after that crazy experience, let's move on to other things. It's triggering. I think that I might have SPD, which is symphysis pubis dysfunction, I think is what it's called. So basically it's like discomfort in your pelvic region, and also can be known as pelvic girdle pain. And I started to experience this pain down there. Pelvic girdle is like a great way to explain it. It just feels like that area down there, like even like my inner thighs and everything too, like that whole system that's holding things up. It feels very like a lot of pressure. It hurts. Sometimes it even feels bruised in a way. So I was feeling that way and didn't really know what it was. I didn't look it up. I was like, it's just kind of a pregnancy thing. And then on my app for the new week, it was like, you may be experiencing this. And I was like, oh wait, I actually am experiencing this. So yeah, I think I just have to be careful, keep getting chiropractic care to help it. I think taking it easy and maybe not running. I was going to like a cardio Pilates class where you run on the treadmill and then do like the reformer machines after. And I think the running and stuff, that kind of triggered it, I think. And I have noticed that sometimes it does get triggered by certain activities that I'm doing. So I'm just trying to listen to my body and be careful. But yeah, it's very, very uncomfortable. And I did read that it could mean that you have a more flexible pelvis, and I am very flexible, and being a yogi, I'm thinking that that is maybe what's happening, but it did say that it could mean that I could have a faster and shorter labor because of it. So maybe it doesn't mean that it's such a bad thing. I don't know, I guess we'll see. Okay, so that was basically week 28. Going into week 29, found out the results of the test. Also, so I had an appointment right before, or right as I was 28 weeks and at the end of 29 weeks. So it kind of was like, I guess it was 2 weeks apart, yeah. But anyway, so I went back to the midwife, had another appointment, found out that my results were all good. And then also something else that they had mentioned was from my blood work, they said everything looked really great. Iron levels looked fantastic. All the other things, white blood cell, red blood cell counts, like everything looked good. My vitamin D was at a 35, and you're supposed to be above 30. That's just like normal, you're okay kind of a thing. But they said they would like me to be between 60 and 80 being pregnant. So instead of doing like the 1,000 IUs I've been doing every day, I need to bump it up to 5,000 to 6,000. It helps bone support, even like depression, hormones. There's a lot of reasons why you need to have good levels of vitamin D. So I've just been going outside more, just being more conscious of doing that. And then obviously taking a higher dosage of the vitamin D. And then also into week 29, I started getting really, really emotional. So I've had like a few moments here and there because hormones are crazy during pregnancy, but nothing like too crazy to where I'm like, I'm so emotional and pregnant. Like, I haven't really had that until week 29. I have been crying so much, and it's all different things I'm crying about. So that's what makes me feel like I'm not, you know, fixating on one thing in my life that I am, you know, really emotional about or something. It's a lot of different things. So that makes me think that it is pregnancy. But yeah, I can't stop crying. Super emotional. And yeah, it's exhausting. Oh, and another thing I forgot to say about my appointment, I was 29 weeks at that second appointment. Yes, 29 weeks. And I was measuring a little bit smaller. I was measuring like I was only 27 weeks. So they said that's also normal. Just like humans outside of the womb, we have growth spurts. So she's like, that's totally normal. Just by the next time that I go, which will be at 31 or 32 weeks that I'll have my next appointment, because now I go every 2 weeks. She's like, as long as you've grown by that point, like, we should be okay. So don't stress about it. But I am measuring just a little small. She said she could just be a little smaller baby at this point, or she could, you know, have a growth spurt and be bigger. So it's totally normal, but I am measuring a little bit behind right now. Okay, last thing for these 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna wrap it on up because I've talked a lot. We started doing dog training. So our golden retriever Nala is the most precious, perfect thing in the entire world. And she is such a good dog. I'm gonna show you what she's doing right now. Hi. Oh, hi. This is the mess that she just made because I let her rip up some cardboard. Hi, baby. Anyway, we really wanted to get her more advanced as far as off-leash training, never jumping on anyone, because sometimes she'll still do that and it's just like a no-no. And then also, like when people come over and stuff, she gets super excited and it just takes her a couple minutes and then she's like sleeping at your feet, but it's still not appropriate to like harass the person when they come in being super excited. So anyway, those little things we wanted to really get together before the baby comes. Oh, and also walking. She doesn't pull a ton. There's just, she kind of does, because there's tension on the leash and we want no tension, obviously. It's not like she's like lunging and stuff, but it's just enough tension in the leash that's like super annoying. And you're like, just walk like half a step back, okay? But anyway, we started that and we've had a couple sessions at this point, and it has made the world of a difference. Like, she's caught on to it so fast, and now she walks right next to us. She does not pull. We're working on off-leash training now. But anyway, it has been incredible. And the little place, she's looking at me, the little place that you just saw that she's in, that's her place. So we're teaching her when we tell you to go be in your place, you stay there until you are released. So like when we're eating dinner, so she's not begging, or just to teach her like boundaries and, you know, if I'm breastfeeding or something, or the baby's laying on the couch that she, I don't know, it's just teaching her some boundaries, and it like breaks my heart because I love her like on me all the time, but it's good because it's just teaching her more obedience and to listen to what we say the first time and not like repeating ourselves. It's like a baby, so, or a child. So anyway, okay, I'm done talking. That was weeks 28 and 29, first couple weeks of the third trimester. Kind of crazy, but things are getting more and more real, and the next video will be 31 and 32 weeks, and I think a lot more planning and stuff and specifics are gonna be happening in the next couple weeks as far as like hospital bag and that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.